Hyundai has been on an absolute roll lately with its electric vehicles from its Ioniq series. The Ioniq 5 was an instant winner, and they iterated on that with the Ioniq 6, a sleek-looking svelte sedan. Now, the third Ioniq model is ready to arrive in America, and it's fit for your family. Say hello to the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9. So let's begin with an exterior walk around where I think the Ioniq 9 might be the most interesting looking three-row electric SUV on the market. It all starts with the parametric pixels, which they are doing on most of the Ioniq vehicles now. It's these pixel square-shaped headlights that are both retro and futuristic at the same time. I really like how we have the light bar going across the front. We've got our main headlights down here, again, with more of those kind of square elements, and then you actually have a little bit more squares. It's a little bit hard to see because of the reflective surface, but you do have some more squares hidden inside the grille. Now we do have this lower grille area that's going to open if you need a little bit more cooling while you're on the go, but as you can see, when the vehicle is off, it is going to be closed. You can actually get 16 different colors on the Ioniq 9, including this gorgeous, gorgeous green. I really hope people go for some brighter colors. There's this green, there's a really nice red and a blue as well as some matte colors, including Celadon gray matte. So there are some really interesting colors that you can get on this car if you want to stand out from the crowd. Now, in terms of wheel options, 19 inches is going to be your base, 20 inches on the mid trims, and this is going to be your 21-inch wheel. Although there is a design package for the top calligraphy model that we are driving right now. This is not the top wheel. You can actually get a really cool looking multi-spoke turbine wheel that I think actually looks a little bit better than this, although it does cost extra. There are a couple of weird things in the design, like the wheel arch here. You can see it's kind of cut out, and then it has this kind of interesting lip above it. Not sure I love that, but it definitely doesn't bother me to any extent. The shape of this car is very teardrop. It's very cool the way that the window kind of comes up and then it tapers off. It's really interesting when you kind of look at this car from the aerial view because it does taper off in the back like a boat tail, which is the inspiration for the design. Aero is at a maximum, which is why we have these pop-out door handles that are going to tuck in when you are driving along or when the vehicle is off. Something really interesting about the Ioniq 9 is here at the back, we do have an NACS connector standard, which means that you do not need an adapter if you want to charge this at a Tesla supercharger station, which is really nice. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then here at the back, this is the most unique part of the design. We've got more of those parametric pixels going all the way up and above. The top portion is going to be your brake light. I think this might be the make it or break it design element for people with the Ioniq 9. I think some people are really going to love this. It reminds me kind of an old school Volvo in a way, but done a little bit differently. I think some people aren't going to like this as much. Let me know in the comments whether or not you like the rear styling of the Ioniq 9. Now, as we hop inside of the Ioniq 9, keep in mind that this is the top calligraphy trim, meaning that we have the most luxurious interior. We've got kind of this faux leather with these really nice streaks. These are heated and ventilated seats. We do have an ergo motion massage only on the driver's side, not for the passenger. These seats are extremely comfortable, and they do also recline in a really cool way. So if you just hold that button down, it'll eventually do it all on its own. So now you have kind of this recline feature with this nice recliner here at the bottom. Now, you cannot drive like this. It is meant for if you're stopped at a charging station and you want to relax. That plus the massage function is actually really nice. Now, we can also get a lighter interior, and then they have like a green accent interior as well. So I love the fact that they offer multiple different colors and some interesting options as well, including the green. This steering wheel looks like it belongs in a Land Rover product. Even the shape screams Land Rover. We do have the dots that have been symbolic of the Ioniq models for quite a while now. We have our regen paddles here. Our shifter mechanism is down here. Twist for forward, pull back for reverse, push for park, and our stop start button is going to be on there as well. We've got our digital gauge cluster. We kind of have a curved display here with two 12.3-inch displays. Turn signals are going to activate our turn signal blind spot view monitors here on the top calligraphy trim. We now finally have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, so this is a really clean, nice system. We also have better route guidance for for EV routing when you're on a long road trip and you need to stop to charge. I'm liking a lot of the materials in here as well. This nice silver futuristic finish. This almost looks like kind of like a bath paper, like a bathroom wallpaper, but in like a good way and kind of like a futuristic way with the ambient lighting. I think it looks really nice as well. We do have a suede headliner here on this top calligraphy model, as well as this really nice glass roof that does open on the Ioniq 9, which is a nice feature as well. We've got some nice storage down here as well, with two 100 watt max USB-C ports that actually draw power from the main battery, not from the 12 volt, as well as a data one if you want to use wired Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. We've still got plenty of buttons. We've got a tuning knob, a volume knob, temperature knobs. We do have touch capacitive buttons for some of the controls here, but these are going to be physical buttons. Your drive mode selector is right here. Your camera button is right here for your 360 camera. Wireless charging with cup holders, some deep storage in here as well. And the thing that I like about this is you can actually slide this island back and forth. They call this the universal island, so your kids can have better access to what's in here, and you can have all of this space here up front. We also have a nice glove box here. There's a little storage shelf here above that, so just tons of places to put stuff in your Ioniq 9. So here in the back, you can get the Ioniq 9 as a 7-seater, but the top calligraphy model and the limited model are going to be limited to just 6 seats because we have the captain's chairs here in the second row. Just like the front seats, these are actually power adjustable, and you do even have your footrest down here so the kids can recline. These seats are actually heated and ventilated as well. We have our controls here on our universal island. I mentioned that now the kids have better access to the storage because it lifts up backwards like this. We do also have another USB-C port right here on the backs of the seats. You can even control this seat if the kid in this seat wants to get a little bit more legroom and there's nobody up there at front. And then we do have additional storage down here in this little drawer. So again, Hyundai really just maximizing the amount of storage. You get your armrest here if you're wondering where the cup holders are. Those actually live over here on the doors, along with our sunshades, which are a nice feature to be built in for the kids as well. And we do have a third row on this vehicle. It's very easy to access here on the top trim levels. All you do is just click one button and the motor is going to move it forward. It's a little bit slow to operate, but it is a little bit easier than having to do it manually on some of the base trims. That is going to allow us to hop into the third row here, where we've got a decent amount of space. I'm going to go ahead and click the button to move the seat back to its original position. Now, we do not have 3 seats back here, but as you can see, even with the seat back, I have a little bit of leg room. I have plenty of headroom back here, even though we have that kind of sloped roof design. And I even have another USB port on each side. I even have controls to kind of lean these seats back via power. You can see that they do move quite a bit if you want to get a little bit more room as you recline. And we do have cup holders on both sides as well. Now, last but not least, we have a really nice amount of storage here. We go under the Q of Ioniq 9 to open up the trunk. We've got 21.9 cubic feet of space behind the third row here, which is pretty generous. It's actually slightly bigger than the Kia EV9 is overall. And it is super easy on this top trim level to fold all of the seats. You get separate controls for the third row. So I'm going to go ahead and click those buttons to just fold down that third row. That's going to open us up to 46.7 cubic feet of space, which is really nice. And you can fold down the second row as well because those are fully powered just like the front seats. So they're going to kind of move into position to make sure that they don't hit the seats in the front. That is something super nice that even something like a Cadillac Escalade doesn't necessarily do. You might end up hitting those front seats. That's going to go ahead and open us up to nearly 87 cubic feet of space. This is a really big, really well packaged car. Even though it doesn't feel that big on the outside, you do get a ton of storage space in here. And if for some reason that huge amount of space in the back is not enough for you, you do get a very small frunk. We've got some charging cables and adapters in these nice little cases under here. But as I take them out, you can see not a huge amount of space in here, enough carved out for the tire mobility kit. And then maybe if you do get a mouse stuck in here, you do actually have a hood release that lights up here on the inside. All right, so now let's get out in the road in the Hyundai Ioniq 9. We are in the performance version, so this is available on the top limited and calligraphy models. We've got 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Hyundai says this vehicle will get from 0 to 60 in just 5.2 seconds. So we have it in sport mode, and let's find out how quick we can get. Just foot on the brake, foot on the throttle. Definitely a delay in giving us all of the available power, and then it kicks in very quickly. Whoa, that was 0 to 60 in 4.67, so much quicker than the 5.2 second claim that Hyundai made there on the top model. Now, there are two other versions that we can get on this vehicle. I don't think most people are going to be opting for this performance all-wheel drive system. The base system is actually going to be rear-wheel drive, so just one motor on the back. It produces only 215 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, which is pretty low for a big vehicle like this. I expect that vehicle to be quite slow. Hyundai estimates a 9.4 second 0 to 60 time, so nearly double the amount of time that this one takes to accelerate. But as we saw, this one is quicker than Hyundai says. I think most people are going to want to opt for the middle version. So that is a dual motor setup like this one, but a little bit less power. 303 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. I think that is going to be the perfect one for most buyers. Although I will say this performance setup, while it doesn't pin me back to my seat, it's not a necessarily aggressive setup. Hopefully Hyundai has an Ioniq 9N in the works that'll be even more powerful than this. This is a really substantial amount of power, but it does feel very smooth in the way that it's delivered. You can get up to speed very smoothly and very effortlessly, and it is very quiet in here. Now, we don't have a adaptive suspension per se. We do have self-leveling suspension with hydro bushings that reduce the vibration. We are on a back road right now, and it's not exactly perfect pavement, but this thing is really soaking up all the bumps and all of the vibration. We are just kind of floating along here. I really love the high level of comfort in this car. And something that Hyundai has been able to do recently is just inject a little bit of fun into all of their vehicles, all the way from the Elantra up to vehicles like the Palisade. And I am still in sport mode right now, and Hyundai does this thing where the steering gets a little bit heavier. It is really nice, really pinpoint steering. It does feel sort of like a performance family SUV that you might get from, say, an Audi or a BMW or a Mercedes. It definitely doesn't feel lackadaisical. It feels very controlled, and as I said, very comfortable. Now, of course, I can take it out of its sport mode here, put it into normal mode. The steering gets a little bit lighter. And again, it just keeps that nice level of comfort that you really want. We do have a little bit of pumped in sound, although it's really nothing like what you would get in the Hyundai Ioniq 5N. I really would like to see Hyundai bring some of those N features down to the regular Ioniq models. I'd love to see some gear shifting and maybe from some sounds. Maybe the target customer for this vehicle wouldn't use it as much, but it would be kind of nice to make this feel a little bit more like a gas SUV. Now, in terms of range, we've got a big battery here, 110.3 kilowatt hours. That's a little bit bigger than a lot of the competition has. That means no matter which of those trims you get, you're going to get over 300 miles of range. Now, the rear-wheel drive one is going to be the best, 335 miles. So if you're looking for the max range, you're going to have to get the slowest Ioniq 9. The middle one only drops by 15 miles, so 320 miles, not too bad of a drop for adding an entirely secondary motor there. And then this performance model, which gets you a little over 100 more horsepower than the mid-level trim, is only going to drop your range by a little bit over 9 miles, so 311 miles here on this performance trim. Again, not bad. I'm super impressed that Hyundai was able to squeeze out over 300 miles on all trim levels and all of the configurations, which is great. And the charging is still fantastic. If you find a 350 kilowatt charger, you can get from 10 to 80% in just 24 minutes. I believe the peak speed is about 235, 240 kilowatts, because this is an 800 volt architecture like all the eGMP cars. Hyundai is so far ahead of the game on this. There are automakers that are just now releasing cars that are only 400 volt, and Hyundai has been making this 800 volt system for years now, which is super great. Now, the odd thing is this actually does have the NACS connector, as we saw a little bit earlier in the video. meaning that you can charge at a Tesla supercharger station. Tesla says your peak speed will be much lower on a V3 Tesla supercharger because they are only 400 volt. So it will take you about 40 minutes to do that 10 to 80% charge. It's going to peak at about 126 kilowatts, but it is going to hold that speed for a really long time, keeping the charging curve really nice. The one detriment, I would say, is going to be your level 2 charging. It's going to take quite a while to charge this up at home. Hyundai quotes 9 hours and 40 minutes from the to 10% to 80%. That is quite a long time, although it is quite a big battery. There are some competitive vehicles that can charge a little bit quicker at home, although they do require extra hardware to do so. So that's going to wrap up our time with the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9. Pricing for that rear-wheel drive S model starts at just under $59,000, not including a $1,600 destination fee. This vehicle is built in Savannah, Georgia, meaning that it does qualify for a $7,500 federal tax credit, bringing the price down to just over 50 grand, which is not too bad while the tax credit lasts. As of this recording, it still exists. You do also get a $400 charge point credit that you can use towards public charging or towards the price of buying an EV charger if you don't already have one. I do think most customers are going to want to step up to the all-wheel drive model. The SE starts at $62,765, or I think maybe the best value out of the lineup is going to be the all-wheel drive SEL, which starts at a little over $66,000. Gets you more power, more features, more bells and whistles, all of that good stuff. Or if you really want to step up, you can get the all-wheel drive Performance Limited. So the limited trim is where you're going to get that 422 horsepower for $71,250. The calligraphy that we've been driving starts just under 75 grand. And if you want the calligraphy design, which gets you matte paint and the turbine 21-inch wheels, which I do think are better looking than the wheels on this model we've been driving, that's $76,490. So a little bit extra for all of that. But what I want to know is whether or not you would buy this over something like a Tesla Model X, a Rivian R1S, or its sister car, the Kia EV9. I think that the styling on this is really nice. The interior is lovely. It is very similar to the Kia in a lot of ways. Now, the Kia will have a sporty GT model. There is no Ioniq 9 announced just yet, so it is a little bit different between those two. And then, of course, there is the Volkswagen ID Buzz, which is a minivan, but it doesn't get the range that the Ioniq 9 does. So this comes in at a really decent price point. It is hugely luxurious. I think if you were considering something like a 3-row BMW or an Audi, you won't be disappointed with the level of luxury and power that this offers you if you're looking to get your first electric car and you need it to be big enough and functional enough for your whole family. But I want to hear from you. Would you buy this over a Kia EV9, or would you maybe wait for the upcoming Hyundai Palisade, which will offer both gas and hybrid powertrains? I want to hear from you, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos, and I'll see you next time.